Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to ask a question and then comment on the amendment. During the hearings that we've had for the last 2 years, one of the recurring things, and this goes to Representative Wheatley's point about the social enforcement and whether or not we're doing a good job of making sure that minors aren't purchasing alcohol. We had heard over and over again that the actual LCB controlled state stores are not subject to the enforcement checks. Would this amendment now bring everyone selling alcohol in any form, beer distributors, wine and spirits, any combination of that, would they be subject to these compliance checks?
Yes.
Okay, so for the first time ever in Pennsylvania, the folks selling the booze and the wine will be subject to the same checks as the beer distributors are now. I think that's a proven system that can really go a long way, and I'm glad that's part of the bill. And then as far as comment on the amendment, I'd like to thank the chairman and Representative Mustio for their hard work on this. You know, we've heard today that, you know, we should have a hearing on this. Well, the fact is we've had 2 years worth of hearings. I sat through most of them, and although I understand the new members of the committee might not have had the luxury of sitting into those long hearings last year, the reality is the material from those hearings has been available. This bill has been in print since January 30th. The amendment has been discussed in many, many different ways. In fact, myself, Mr. Chairman, I've heard from restaurants, I've heard from the bars, I've heard from the beer distributors, I've heard from the supermarkets, I've heard from the unions, I've heard from the independent business. I've had no less than 75 meetings in the last 3 weeks on this concept that we're discussing today. And what I also heard from is Republicans and Democrats in my district. And I've heard from folks across the state, beer distributor owners, private individuals, and like I said, Republican and Democrat, and not unanimously, but 80% of those folks that actually purchase alcohol believe that the system we have in Pennsylvania is antiquated and that we need to move into the 21st century. I think this amendment does that, and I would certainly be voting yes, not just for that fact, but because one of the great things about Pennsylvania is we've always embraced the entrepreneurial spirit. I think this legislation gives those folks in the beer distributor, and my father used to own a beer distributor. We sold it over 5 years ago. But it gives them the opportunity to expand and create and innovate and deliver a product to the public that I think the majority of Pennsylvanians want. Also, where we lack in Pennsylvania is the ability for folks that want to start a new business, whether it's distilling spirits, making wine, making their own beer. We have a system that is in place that does not favor that because we have a system that makes you beg to get on the shelves. The stores that now have these new licenses will have the opportunity to harness that entrepreneurial spirit, showcase local products, and I think that in the long haul, Pennsylvania will be better off, and there will be a lot of opportunities for the small businessman and woman out there, and I, again, urge a yes vote on this amendment.